can't believe that we are missing out. It's been a year since this channel started and till now, we have yet to review a Gigabyte laptop. Well, that all changes today. This is the Gigabyte Aero 16 and this time, it's a laptop that's geared towards creators in mind, which might be a little confusing for some because past Aero laptops were more geared towards gaming, but with this, Aero is slowly transitioning to be one for creators. But in any case, let's talk about this. First up, the design has gotten quite the improvement and it looks much better than the previous generation in my opinion. It's really clean looking with all that silver and just the Aero logo in the middle, which will light up white when you lift up the lid. Most of the exterior has a matte finish which resists fingerprints, though the sides do feature a polished brush look for some added flair. Overall, it's a design that looks really professional and despite the rather simple aesthetic, it still exudes a little bit of character. Really liking the design here. It does however feature a protruding lip on the lid, which is a bypass product of going really thin on the bezels while still needing to fit in the camera and microphone array. Whether you fancy this or not, it's really up to you. But it does provide a nice little grip area for you to lift up the lid with ease, and yes, for those of you who are concerned, you can easily lift the display up with just one hand. As for the webcam, it's only going to be 720p, so as you can tell, not the best out there. But the microphones are decent and it does support Windows Hello. But now, the display is the main highlight here and it's a really beautiful display unlike any other, which is further complemented by those thin bezels. First up, it's 16 inches in a 16:10 aspect ratio, so not only is it larger than the previous generation, but you also get a little more vertical space to work with, which will be really helpful with creative applications. But secondly, and more importantly, it's a 4K plus OLED display and it's just downright fantastic. So as mentioned, it's 16 inches, it's OLED, a resolution of 3840 by 2400 running at 60Hz, 16:10 aspect ratio, covers 100% DCI-P3 with a delta E of less than 1, and supports HDR500 True Black. Additionally, it's also X-Rite factory calibrated and Pantone validated. If you're a content creator, this display is really phenomenal. Not only are you working with a great high resolution, especially for photos and videos, but at the same time, it's going to be really color accurate as well. Now, as for the keyboard, it's definitely not the best, but it's not bad. I do like the keyboard layout with full-size arrow keys and having a dedicated power button separate from the keyboard itself, and it do feel decently great to type on. But I'm not too sure about the font. It just doesn't feel as refined as the exterior look of the Aero 16 itself, but it might just be me. The trackpad on the other hand is really good. It's much larger compared to the last generation and it just works great, really nice. Speakers wise, they are up-firing on the sides and they do sound alright. They're not going to blow you away, but they aren't going to be thin sounding either. But then we come to ports, and this is where it's kind of like a slight downgrade compared to the last generation. You just get a single USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port and a 3.5mm combo on the left side, while you get two Thunderbolt 4 ports on the right. That's it. So, in order to get more ports, you will have to bring along the USB hub that's included with the laptop. With this, you get access to RJ45, USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A, mini DisplayPort and HDMI 2.0. Personally, I would wish that at least HDMI and a single USB Type A port be present on the laptop itself, but at the very least, that USB hub is included with the laptop, so it's not a separate purchase. One thing to note is that you will want to plug this into the Thunderbolt 4 on the right and not the standard Type-C port on the left. If you were to plug it in directly, do plug into the port nearer to you so that you won't block the other Thunderbolt 4 port, or you can opt to use the included extension cable as well. As for battery life, this has a 99 Wh battery, which is basically the maximum legal limit on board a flight. Though given the amount of power this has, it will only last you roughly 5 to 6 hours of general usage, which isn't fantastic but definitely isn't bad. Not surprising. But we now get into the most important bit, the performance. There are a few different configurations available for the Aero 16, but here's what we have. A Core i9-12900HK, GeForce RTX 3080 Ti with 105W TGP, 32GB of DDR5 RAM, and 1TB of PCIe 4.0 SSD storage. Unfortunately, the Aero 16 does not have a mux switch, but through Gigabyte's control center, there are a few profiles in which we have access to and we can test, we'll focus on mainly three, which are Creator, Gaming, and Turbo. First up, Cinebench R23. The results speak for themselves, and the Aero 16 is by far the best performing laptop with that Core i9-12900HK. In the Creator profile, the multi-score is but just shy of 15,000, and changing to the Turbo profile yields an additional 1,000. Now the most interesting profile has got to be Gaming, where the performance drops to under 10,000. There's a reason for this. In both the Creator and Turbo profile, the CPU can draw up to 80 watts or more with all the performance cores clocked in at 3.3 GHz or higher, and all the efficiency cores clocked in at 2.6 GHz or higher. Temperatures gets a little toasty at 90 degrees Celsius, but still within reason. On the Gaming profile however, the performance cores clocked in under 1 GHz majority of the time, and it's the efficiency cores that gets clocked up to 3.4 GHz instead, thus the lower score. But when playing actual games, the results do flip, more on that later. Now in DaVinci Resolve, the findings are really similar to that of Cinebench. In both the Creator and Turbo profiles, render times are extremely fast, while in the Gaming profile, performance definitely lags behind, though still very respectable. But now we talk about Gaming, and this is where the results flip. We use the Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark to maintain a constant, and as you can tell, the Gaming profile yields the best performance and is in line with the Turbo profile. But in the Creator profile, performance drops significantly. So as far as our findings go, the Gaming profile focuses on providing more power to the GPU and utilizing the maximum 105W TGP, while in the Creator profile, that priority goes to the CPU while still maintaining reasonable temperatures. Turbo basically tunes everything up to 11, which isn't surprising to say the least. So we tested at both 1080p and the native 4K resolution using the Gaming profile. Here are the results. At 1080p, you can expect a really enjoyable experience no matter the game. Games like CSGO or Valorant will achieve really high frame rates, but perhaps AAA titles like Halo are much more enjoyable, especially with that OLED display. Turn the resolution up to the native 4K and it will depend on what you like to play. Again, games like CSGO and such will still perform extremely well, but games like Halo or Ghostwire will definitely take a hit. For those, we would highly suggest dropping the settings a little. As for ray tracing, it's perfectly enjoyable at 1080p, while at 4K, definitely go easy on the settings or change DLSS to performance instead. All in all, really great gaming performance despite the crowd that the Aero is kind of targeted towards. Although unfortunately, it could have been better if there was a mux switch. As for temperatures, it's highly dependent on the game, but you can expect the CPU and GPU to hover around 80 degrees Celsius plus minus. So, overall thoughts about the Aero 16? Well, it's a solid laptop through and through, and in terms of the target demographic that this is supposed to cater towards, creators, it really does perform. A great 4K OLED display that's just awesome for creative work can be fitted with up to a Core i9 and RTX 3080 Ti, which is going to provide all that performance for heavy applications, and thermals are very much well in check without ridiculous fan noise. However, that all comes with a price, and it's a really heavy one at that. For this exact configuration, the Wi-Fi destination, it will set you back a whopping 6,900 Singapore dollars or just about 4,400 US dollars. That is definitely a hefty purchase, not something you wouldn't think twice before even considering it. But if you're actually considering it, this is an amazing laptop that delivers on all fronts. The display, the aesthetics, the performance, all of it. It's just a little bit expensive, or perhaps that's an understatement. But yes, it is what it is. This is an amazing laptop. Just make sure that your wallet is thick enough to handle it. That's about it. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section down below. If you'd like to, do check out the affiliate links in the description as well. If you do, thanks for the support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Till the next one. See ya!